Hey there, it's Mike Snell with Remax Real Estate based out of Red Deer, Alberta. And in this video today, I want to talk about how much can one afford in 2024, kind of breaking down the real estate market, what sort of things you should be looking at. This is going to be a little more specific again to the Red Deer area because that's where I market and that's sort of where we're targeting these videos towards. But there will be some things in regards to, the home budget, interest rates within Canada, different programs and incentives, things like that could still be beneficial to you as a home buyer, even if you're not working in the Central Alberta spot. So what I want to get into is going to be determining your home buying budget and kind of figuring out for buyers what you should be doing and where you should be looking, right? So this can depend on several factors. So it will depend on your income, the down payment that you have that you've managed to save up, your current debts that you're holding or lack thereof, and other expenses that could kind of come into things, right? In regards to income, lenders will typically recommend that your monthly mortgage payment shouldn't exceed 30% of your gross income. So this gross income is going to include principal, interest, taxes, right, and your insurance. Right. Now, in regards to your down payments, right, for the most part, the average I see or I talk to with buyers is going to be around 5%. A larger down payment will significantly reduce the size of your mortgage and the monthly payments that you have, right? And in Canada, the down payments can kind of be around that 5% to 20%, which is probably the most common. Anything above 20% will help you to avoid CMHC or another type of insurance costs on top of it, which can also reduce your costs. Now, which one's the best to do for yourself there? I would say talk to either your financial person or your mortgage broker or whichever lender you're working with. And hopefully they'll be able to kind of guide you through your current situation and work out. Because not always is going outside of CMHC maybe the better situation most of the time. But again, this will be one of those things where it'll be situational for yourself, right? In regards to your debts and expenses, lenders will also look at your debt to income, right? And ideally, your total debts, including your mortgage, should be below 43% of your income. So factor in other expenses when you're looking at your budget, such as utilities, property maintenance, and then some other lifestyle costs when you're kind of getting familiar with where you should be spending, right? Talk to your bank or your mortgage broker, which I would recommend, and then get that pre-approval, and they'll give you a good sense of, based on all this information, where your monthly payments could be, and then you'll be able to determine whether or not you can afford that, if it makes sense, and get a good idea for that, right? Now let's look at interest rates. So interest rates play a huge role in determining how much house one can afford. This year, interest rates have fluctuated a little bit due to economic factors, right? And a slight increase in rates can significantly impact your monthly mortgage payment, right? The Bank of Canada recently just cut the rates, which is now going to essentially make things a little bit easier for buyers. And throughout the country, we're going to see a little bit of buyer activity increase. It's been pretty strong in Alberta so far, but it's definitely going to help people figure some things out where prices have been going up over this bit. So it's important to plan for potential rate increases if you're considering a variable rate mortgage, right? Or even planning out down the road and just making sure that you don't cut yourself too thin, where if there is a fixed rate increase and your mortgage comes up for renewal, which is what I think we're going to be seeing a little bit over this next year and 2026 from those COVID mortgages when they were really low, right? So keeping in mind, for example, a 1% increase in interest rates on a $400,000 mortgage can raise your monthly payments by several $100s. So you want to make sure you talk to your lender or your mortgage broker and just make sure that you've kind of planned for that, right? Now let's talk government programs and incentives. So several government programs exist to help first-time homebuyers in Canada. They can reduce the upfront costs and make it a little bit easier to get into that home, right? There's the first-time homebuyer incentive. This program is going to allow eligible buyers to reduce their monthly mortgage payments without having to increase their down payment by offering a shared equity loan with the government. There's the RSP Homebuyers Plan. So first-time homebuyers can withdraw up to $35,000 from their RSPs to use towards a down payment tax-free. There's the GST New Housing Rebate. If you're buying a new home, you'll be eligible for a rebate on the GST paid on the purchase, and this will apply for new properties. And then effective December 15th this year in 2024, there's going to be a 30-year amortization that's going to come in. So this option will be available for first home buyers and new build purchasers, which will lower that payment and make it a little bit easier for some people, right? So again, explore these options, talk to your lender about the different options available to you, your financial person, to kind of see which way is going to be best while you're calculating your budget. So when we talk about talking with your lender or your mortgage broker, right, and especially with pre-approval, the reason why this is essential is that getting pre-approved for a mortgage will give you a clear idea of how much that lender is willing to loan to you based on your financial profile and situation, right? Also, having a pre-approval is important when you make that offer. And when we sit down, majority of listing realtors, when the offer gets presented, will ask your realtor, have they been pre-approved, right? It essentially tells the realtor and the seller that not only are you a serious buyer, but you have your ducks in a row. In a competitive market like what we've been dealing with in Alberta this year and expect to for next year, it also helps give you a little bit of a benefit and an edge, right? When you're competing in those multiple offer situations, knowing that you've gone into the lender, you've got your pre-approval in place. And some realtors are now asking for a copy of that pre-approval letter so that they know. To get pre-approved, right, you'll need to provide documentation such as income statements, tax returns, credit reports, and a list of your other debts. So the pre-approval will help you narrow down your search to within the homes that you should be looking at within your price range. And so you want to make sure that you're not either undercutting yourself, but in a lot of situations, what I see, people think I can afford up here. We start looking at those houses, then we go talk to the lender and find out we can't. So what you've been doing, not only have you been wasting times not looking at houses that you could afford, but you get yourself excited for homes that are maybe out of your reach, and then it's hard to compare those homes back to it. Now let's talk the local market specifics, what to expect in Red Deer, and what type of homes are available in the central Alberta market at least, right? Now, homes up to 500,000, which has probably been the most active market and where we've seen largest price increases this year, right? So primarily in that, you're going to get a good mixture, right? So anywhere from sort of that 250 up to 500, you're going to get older detached properties. A lot of those older properties are going to be bungalows, some split levels from the 80s and 90s, and the odd bi-level that was kind of becoming popular back at that spot. A lot of duplexes, so that's semi-detached, different townhomes, and condominiums. So the townhomes and duplex condominiums are what's going to apply in there, right? They're typically going to be anywhere from 3 to 4 bedrooms, and you're going to have that sort of 1.5 to 2 bathrooms in there. As we start to go up to that 500, 750,000, that's when you're going to start to see homes that are going to be newer than 2,000, right? Mainly detached homes, so those single families that'll start to include a lot of modified bi-levels, so the bedrooms above the garage, 2-story basic homes, and then we're going to get into what I refer to sort of as our empty nester bungalows, right, or executive style bungalows. So that one bigger bedroom with maybe a den office on the main floor that could be used as a bedroom, and then additional bedrooms downstairs. You will see, typically the odd townhome and then some semi-detached duplex homes will come into play there, but generally you're going to be expecting that 4 to 5 bedrooms and then that 2.5 to 3 bedroom homes. Now, everything above that 750 towards that million mark, which is becoming a lot more common over the past couple of years, that's where you're going to get into these larger detached homes. A lot of bungalows and 2 stories, right? Going to be in a lot of the newer style properties. You should expect to see that 4 to 5 plus bedrooms and easily 3 bathrooms going forward on there as you kind of get into those luxury style homes as you kind of hit that million plus, right? So in Red Deer in central Alberta, there's a variety of homes to fit many different budgets, right? The average residential price currently is around that $385,000 in Red Deer, which is up from the previous year, right? So, and we've been seeing that not only because prices have been rising, but people are starting to have to look at those higher expensive homes to get into them, right? So understanding sort of what you can expect within the market, what types of homes are there, where your budget can come sort of from working out those tips that we talked about earlier and having that pre-approval is going to help with your search and then make the whole experience just a little bit less overwhelming, because it can be a lot as you're kind of venturing out to look at buying that home. Now, The types of homes I'm talking about is specific to that Red Deer market and central Alberta area. And if you're watching this and you're in a different market within Canada, especially if you're in Ontario or Vancouver area, and you're like, we cannot get homes for that. I know. And so obviously talk to a local realtor there, do your research within the local realtors that are promoting that stuff, or kind of your local MLS, and you'll get a good idea of what types of homes can kind of fit within to that budget, right? Now, I'll put in the comments the tools and resources. So for the Government of Canada mortgage calculator to kind of help start breaking some stuff down, but I do recommend talking to a mortgage broker to really help narrow that down. We'll look at Rate Hub, which is a great spot to kind of chart checking different mortgage rates, but essentially reach out to a local mortgage broker in your area and kind of see the rates that they have. They'll be more competitive, and you'll be able to really narrow some of those things down. And then I'll provide a link for CMHC and the First Time Home Buyers Resources, so that anyone for a first home, they can generally kind of look at that, reference that, and get a good understanding of what opportunities await for them, right? Keeping in mind that buying a home is one of the most significant financial decisions you'll probably make, right? So knowing how much you can afford, where your budget is, and kind of what to expect is just going to make the process a little bit easier, right? So I hope these tips helped kind of break down sort of what the general market can and how you can kind of determine your affordability and where you can be looking for your home buying process, right? If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer where I can. You can send me a message directly at mike@mikesnell.ca or find me on socials and kind of connect with me there. So thank you very much for checking out this video. If you found the information good, please share it with a friend, add a like. It would really help. Obviously, we're trying to work on some good informative new content, and so I hope this has delivered that to you. Thanks for watching.